I sat down at my desk this morning and I was thinking about what kind of video I was going to make today. And I have a few videos that were in the backlog that I considered posting. One was on artificial intelligence and how it's not very good at analyzing context in your life. I scrapped it. Another one was on the most underrated gems that I have in my Steam library. I'm probably going to scrap that one because I don't like how it turned out. I might end up redoing it. I think the idea is kind of good, but for now, yeah, it's just going to sit on the back burner. And today, honestly, it's 11:46 a.m. and it's a Sunday. It's typically a day where people take their day off. And I haven't taken a day off from this channel since I started. I've been doing a video every single day. Not only just one video, but sometimes to upwards of 3 or 4 plus shorts. And that pretty much consumes my entire day. It's been a lot of work. I probably put an average of between 6 to 16 hours of work per day on this channel. And this isn't a video to complain. I'm basically saying I'm tired. I'd like to take a break. But I also feel like I can't take a break because if I stop uploading for one day, then it feels like everything falls apart. Because once I tell myself it's okay to take a break and it's okay to take a day off, then suddenly that becomes a habit and I start doing that more often. And then eventually I just stop uploading at the rate I want to upload. So it's a bit of a catch-22. And I know that I could record videos ahead of time and then just have them scheduled to come out the following day, which is probably the healthiest thing to do, though I never listen to that. I never actually do that. And I have been just go since day one. So here I am, pretty tired, wanting to take a bit of a rest after being close to about doing this for 80 days straight. We are coming up to the 3-month mark. I believe June 8th will roughly be around 90 days of doing this every day, which went by really fast. And I'm really happy with how the channel's turned out. I mean, there's parts of me that aren't happy with how I performed. When I look back on everything I've made, there's a lot of videos that I don't like. There's a lot of videos that I felt like I should have put more effort into. There's videos that maybe I shouldn't have posted or published. And yeah, there's a lot of self-criticism over my own work. But I am still proud of how much work I've output in the time frame that I have. It's been a lot, but I'm happy with that. I think I'm making this video right now, which I will probably end up posting, even though it's meta commentary, because it just feels like the most natural thing to talk about and say, especially when right now is just a lot. It's a super nice day outside, and I actually want to go outside and experience the day and, you know, just live life a little outside of YouTube, which I don't always do. But my rule is I can't leave the house until I've gotten at least a video out. So this is that video. It's a video that doesn't really have or add a whole lot of value. It's just a video that its only purpose is to keep me going, is to keep the momentum. And that's what a lot of videos on this channel are, is keeping the momentum going. Just keep walking forward, even when you're tired, even when, you know, there's a lot of things telling you not to, because how else are you going to get to your destination if you don't take more steps forward? Honestly, I'm pretty amazed by like how the channel has performed just by focusing on quantity instead of quality in general. I wasn't sure if it was going to work or not, and I still don't know if it's going to work or not, but I'm still willing to keep going and trying to see what happens because I'm just really curious. 1.5K uploads in just under 3 months is pretty bananas. Yeah, they're all like clips of my own long form videos. So in reality, this is 210 long form videos that I've actually posted, but there is quite a bit of work that goes into clipping all those videos and even just the act of publishing itself and titling the shorts and linking them to the previous long form. So there's work involved in that as well. But yeah, like I said, I'm not here to complain. I'm just talking because I'm tired and I don't really know what to say or what to talk about. And I suppose I'm just talking about the YouTube creator journey in general, which is a large part of what this channel is me talking about making a channel as I make the channel. And that's never really changed since day one. And surprisingly, people like watching videos like that, but it makes no sense to me why. But that's okay. I mean, I'm glad you like it. So I'm not complaining and I'm glad you're here. And it's weird to be in a space where you're doing something where you're not always proud of your own work, but someone else finds value in it. And I think that's kind of crazy and wild. But yeah, it also kind of proves to yourself that you're not the greatest judge of your own content. And, you know, it doesn't really always matter what you upload either. You know, I've uploaded videos that I didn't think were going to do well at all, that they would get no views, and they ended up getting like a couple views, which was more than my expectations. And I found that the bar I have set is so low that anytime I actually do have a video that does relatively well, and by relatively well, I mean like more than 10 views, I'm surprised and I'm happy about that, because it's like, wow, that I thought that was not a very good video. And by the YouTube algorithm standards, it's not, okay? It's not getting pushed out. Some of you have found my videos through shorts and then you watch some of my long form content, so thanks. I don't make videos that are high retention. They're just not. I talk in circles, I go down rabbit holes, I talk about whatever's on my mind. Sometimes it's just random topics and I'm all over the place. And I like that because it's just a lot less friction to make a video. I don't think there's anything wrong with high production content, but I think part of the reason why I wanted this channel is that I kind of wanted an outlet where I could express myself without having a bunch of hoops I had to jump through. And lowering the bar to entry for posting a video has been so refreshing for myself, even when no one watches the video, because it's just something I can put out there, and then it's the thought and feeling and emotion behind it is encapsulated in that video, and I can move on. And it's kind of cathartic in a way when you're frustrated or stuck or, you know, in some weird space you haven't been able to figure out how to get out of yet, frame of mind maybe, and hitting record and talking into a microphone about it. Feeling like you're talking to somebody and someone's listening is it's a nice feeling. It feels good because you can just let it go and then move on and try to find out what the next thing is that, you know, people actually might be interested in watching. So videos like these are ways for me to keep the engine running when it feels like it's misfiring. I've got this massive list of video ideas that I've written down, and every time I get a new idea, I add it to the list, and the list just keeps growing and growing and growing. I have a large amount of ideas that I may never actually make videos out of. But there's some days where I look at that list and I can read through the whole list, and I can feel like I don't want to make any one of these videos. None of these ideas appeal to me in that moment. And it's so based on the feeling of motivation and creativity and like, what do I actually want to make? There's times where I do want to make a video that does perform well on the channel, and I'll try to polish it, and maybe I'll script, maybe I'll just do an outline, or I'll at the bare minimum put more effort into it than I would a video like this. And I don't mind doing videos like that, but they feel very constructed. Like it's this systematic process of creating something that is polished, defined, sticks out in a environment like a building inside of a nature conservatory. Like, you know when you walk in a park, you're walking through a park and you see trees and grass and there's maybe a pathway you're walking on, and then suddenly you'll just come across a building in the middle of the park and it feels so out of place. That's what polished videos feel like to me. Whereas the path and the trees and the grass, which is what I want to pay attention to, is really the videos that come from the well of inspiration inside of you in the moment that you are creating that video, which is like right now. Like this moment here where I'm talking about the process of the channel feels so much more rewarding and satisfying to make as a creator than a video that is designed for views, retention, and success. And that building in the park serves a purpose. Maybe it's a restroom, or maybe it's where the park ranger gets together with other park rangers. You know, there's a reason the building exists there, even though it sticks out. And there's nothing wrong with it being there, and there's nothing wrong with having videos like that on your channel. And you know, most people are going to tell you that's where everything should be, is, you know, inside buildings, trying to create order out of chaos. But I suppose why I like doing videos like this, which is meta commentary on the channel, is because it is giving into the chaos, giving into the inspiration that is within you, giving into the feeling of letting whatever words that want to emerge from you in that moment emerge. And that feels so satisfying and relieving and cathartic. And I love doing that because it doesn't feel so formative. I feel like I can just be myself in that moment and just tell you as I am how I'm feeling in this moment, which is honestly tired, exhausted, trying to figure out how to be successful on YouTube through a method that is absolutely ridiculous. Like the strategy is just so counterproductive to actually having success. It's kind of like, I would almost consider it dumb some days, because no video of mine on this channel, it has viral potential. At least if there is any, it's a really small amount. And I don't think any of them will ever go viral. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe one day I make something and magically, for some reason, I landed on something that someone was like, wow. And then it just got shared to a bunch of different places and I get a viral video. That'd be dope. But even if you have a viral video on your channel, it does not mean you're going to get subscribers or like mean that your channel is just going to be suddenly an overnight success. Yesterday, I saw a video of a specific type of crab. I don't remember what kind of crab it was, but basically the crab was in the water and it was upside down and it was trying to upright itself. And this crab like totally looked like the face hugger from Alien. I don't know if you've seen Alien or know exactly what I'm talking about, but if you do, you know if you know what the face hugger looks like, you know, it's got that long tail and it's got like the claws that go around the person's face. This crab seriously looked identical to the face hugger. It's a real live creature that exists within our world in the water. It's a face hugger. And it's actually terrifying that this thing exists, because this must have been where the inspiration for the face hugger actually came from. Someone saw that crab upside down, or maybe, you know, or saw that like creature, and they're like, oh, that would be so creepy if that thing, like, you know, wrapped around your face and implanted eggs in your stomach. And so I'm watching this video. I'm like, this is crazy. And the video had 13 million views. And it was wild. It was just like, what a crazy creature. And then I looked at the channel because I was curious, like, well, if the video has 13 million views, the channel must have thousands of subscribers. This is the crazy thing. The video had been out for years. The video had 13 million views, and the channel itself had 500 subscribers. And I just thought, wow, You can have such a successful viral video on your channel, and that does not mean that you will get subscribers. It literally means nothing. Now, that doesn't mean that that person who had that channel didn't get a lot of watch time. They probably did. They probably qualified for monetization because of that video alone, but they didn't. They didn't qualify for monetization because not only did they need 4,000 hours of watch time, they also needed 1,000 subscribers, which they didn't have. So they actually never would have made money off that viral video, but YouTube would have made a lot of money off that viral video. It's crazy. And I mean, like, you know, if you actually want to make this a career, I don't know if YouTube itself, like if you go in with the intent of like starting a channel to make it a career, is the wisest decision or not. That's what I'm doing. And I don't know if that's smart or not. I'm going to find out. I have a runway on this channel. I have like a time frame for how long I can do this before I need to like switch gears and go do something else. But lately, yeah, I'm like averaging between 6 to 16 hours per day working on content. And it depends. I'll be honest, some days I don't put a lot of effort in. Maybe it's like 4 hours of actual work. But it does feel like, it always feels like more than that because my mind all day is constantly on YouTube, whether it's responding to comments or thinking about new ideas to come up with, thinking about how do I get over this mental block I have in my head about creativity. How do I, you know, make something that people want to enjoy? I'm constantly thinking about YouTube all day, and I have been for the past 70 plus days. So that's why I say 16 hours. It just doesn't leave my mind. It feels like I'm constantly thinking about it. And I'm okay with that. Like I said, I'm not complaining. It's just a dramatic shift from where I was before. And I don't know like if this project will succeed in terms of a commercial aspect. It might only ever be me just venting into the internet or me just talking about an opinion I have on, you know, Skate 4 or some other random video game that maybe like a small percentage of people actually care to hear. And that's okay if that's what it becomes. I'm okay with that. I just think that like I really want to see like if I did this for like a year, if I made a video a day for a year, or between 1 to 3 videos a day for a year, and I just kept going, how far would I get? Could I monetize? Could I make enough money that I could support myself through this method and means rather like than just a traditional job? And I'm curious about that. And like, that curiosity is literally what propels me forward to keep going. Like that, just not knowing the answer to that question until proven otherwise is what keeps this channel alive. Because there's so many people who can say, yeah, it won't work, or yeah, it will work, but no one actually knows. No, like anytime someone's like, this is the absolute truth, I always think this person is an absolute dumbass because they don't actually understand that they never know what is truth or not. No one does. No one knows what is actually going to happen next. No matter who it is. Like you can say that if you follow steps A, B, and C, D will happen. And in some cases, that's true, especially when it applies to something like mathematics. But there's other cases when you're talking about a system that involves a tremendous amount of complexity that an absolute truth doesn't really exist because there's so many moving pieces. There's so many places where some variable can change the outcome. So to say that this is the way is honestly such an oversimplification that it's kind of a stupid line of thought. Now, this is my own personal opinion. If you disagree with me, go ahead. I don't care. This is how I think about it. If a system has a lot of complexities, there's always going to be variables that mean that there is no real predictable stance you can have that this output or this input will always have this output. So that's why I look at the channel the same way. If someone says, yeah, you could make 1,000 videos and your channel won't be successful, maybe they're right, but maybe they're wrong. They don't know. And that absolute statement that they're making is kind of absolutely ridiculous at the same time, because they don't know. Even though they're professing to know, they don't know, because you can't know the outcome of the future. That's just not a power humans have. We can predict what might happen. We can have some sort of guess. But even those guesses themselves are so often wrong. It's crazy. You know, we're good at identifying patterns, but we are not good at predicting the final outcome. And so because of that, because I don't know if this channel will actually succeed or not, I am willing to put in a tremendous amount of work just to find out if it will. And if I get to the end and I fail and I don't succeed, if I don't monetize, or that I get to a point where I'm like, the amount of work required to make any money at this platform is just not worth it, and I hit that wall and I can't break through it, excuse me, then okay, I stop. And the people who believed that it wouldn't work from the beginning can be proven right. But also, I don't care, because even that absolute statement from the get-go was ridiculous, because they still didn't know. So proving someone right or wrong is kind of just silly in a sense anyway, because it's always based on variables. Like, it's just how you interpret the world and the framing in your head. Which is why I love absurdity so much. Well, we're just going everywhere with this video, aren't we? I love absurdity. I love the philosophical idea of absurdity, because you can pretty much chalk everything up to it. Because life is pretty absurd. It's ridiculous. You don't have to take it seriously. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. And pretty much like in every facet of life, you can just say, yeah, well, it doesn't matter, because we all die in the end anyway. I mean, it kind of depends on what kind of philosophy on outlook you have on life. Like, if you believe in like a higher power, then obviously you're not going to believe in the train of thought that nothing matters. You're going to believe in the thought that perhaps everything matters, or a lot of things matter. But if you have some sort of nihilistic outlook on life, like I do, where nothing matters, but some things matter based on what you want to matter, then it kind of doesn't matter. You know, okay, this is getting all over the place, but nihilistic absurdity in a way is such an enjoyable outlook to have on life, because if nothing matters, then nothing matters. You can kind of just not care. You can just let it go. You know, like if you do something for a long period of time and you fail miserably, who cares? It doesn't matter. And if you spend a whole bunch of time and you succeed at something and you get really far and ahead in life, who cares? It doesn't matter. It literally just doesn't matter. It's just a universe experiencing itself. You are just existing, living in the way that you want, experiencing the things that are happening to you. And no matter what happens, it just doesn't matter. And then you can also go down the dark path of, oh my God, nothing matters. What's the point of being alive? In which case I would say, well, you know, that's a really dark line of thought. And, you know, if you go down that road, it's not going to lead you to a very happy ending. You know, you still have, as a human being, emotions you can experience. And if anything, you know, I would say that emotions do matter, because they matter to you, because they like how you feel, you know, it can change how you experience life. And I would say most humans want to feel good or want happiness. But I don't know. I find like nihilistic absurdity like such a useful philosophical outlook on life, because when things are really bothering you or something's getting to you, you can just say, it doesn't matter. And then when something is, you know, something you really enjoy and you're grateful it's there, you can allow it to matter, but you don't need it to. You can also just be grateful that you're getting to experience it. I wouldn't say I am a professor of any philosophical line of thought or a philosopher in any sort of way. I like the idea of nihilistic absurdity, but do I completely adhere to it? Probably not. I have my own, intricacies and mechanisms of my own brain working. But yeah, I found it a useful philosophy. I think I found it to be the most useful philosophy I have ever come across in my life thus far. Especially in terms of against black and white thinking, which is something I now really try to stay away from. Is, this is an absolute. I made a joke on my channel earlier, in the video. Every FPS game ever is either Quake or Counter-Strike. The whole video is a joke. Like, I'm not trying to act like I don't actually believe that. I think there's a lot of variety in video games, but I just made it because I thought it was funny. It's just a black and white thinking, there's so many shades of gray in life. One of my favorite books I've ever read was Watchmen. And if you know the book, if you've read, it's written by Alan Moore, and there's a movie on it as well. And if you don't want any spoilers, just skip ahead here because I might include some spoilers. Actually, I'll try to keep it without spoilers. There's a character in this book, and this book is a very philosophical book. There's a character in this book that has very black and white thinking. That's just how he interprets the world. That's just how he looks at the whole lens of the world. It's a frame inside of his mind. And it's interesting because that's his whole philosophy, and he adheres to it, and he will not compromise his own way of thinking, to the point of paying the ultimate price. And I found that it's such a fascinating book because, every human being has their own philosophy, their own way of looking at life. And a lot of it is influenced by the things they have experienced, their parents, the stories they've been subjected to. Excuse me. And I found it interesting because this character had this black and white thinking in a world and reality which is not just black and white, but there's shades of gray. And his black and white thinking ultimately led to him losing something that would be deemed very important. And it, to me, seemed like a incompatibility of black and white thinking with the reality of what life is, which is not just black and white, but shades of gray. So it was a philosophy that someone had adhered to, lived by. And that philosophy, while you're allowed to live by and adhere to, had an incompatibility with reality. His frame of mind did not see reality as clear as it was. And I thought that was such an interesting character in a book because it is so prevalent in society today where people will have a frame of mind, a philosophy, a way of looking at life that is incompatible with reality. Yet they continue to use that frame of mind. And that's their choice. That's just how they live. And there is no right or wrong philosophy. Not really. Just doesn't matter. But, that's my own perspective and my own opinion of how I look at things. And there's a freedom in nihilism if you look at it from a perspective of not really caring. There is things you can choose to care about that can matter to you. And I mean, we can also delve into attachment and detachment. There's philosophical lines of thought where, if you have attachment to things, it essentially is what causes suffering. And I believe that ends up in falling into under Buddhism, if I'm not mistaken correctly. But like I said, I'm not a philosopher. But yeah, there is utility to saying this doesn't matter. There's utility. It can serve you in a way, which is why I like it. Because when something is bothering you and you don't want it to bother you, you can say, this doesn't matter. You can move on. And you can detach yourself caring. And that has been so valuable to me in so many ways of my life that I love it. And I apply it in so many different areas of my life, including this channel. Like a video like this, it's all over the place. We're talking about philosophy, and we started talking about meta commentary. And yeah, it just doesn't matter. Like the success of a channel, it doesn't matter. What really matters to you is what you deem that which matters to you, which you decide matters. The decision is up to you. You get to decide what brings meaning into your life and what doesn't, what should and should not matter to you, whether online internet argument matters to you. Which is what I find so funny because, you know, like you, for example, if you are a YouTube creator or you create videos and, you know, or upload your own opinion about things on the internet, you will likely have run into this situation where you'll upload your opinion about something and there's some person that just takes extreme offense to your opinion about something. And I find it hilarious because it's like, it's somebody's opinion. Who cares? Like, if they disagree with you, who cares? It doesn't matter. It's like, you have a right to your own opinion and they do too. And it's funny how up in arms people will get over like someone else's opinion, something that really just doesn't matter. Because when you think about like the universe in general, where we are as humans, we are like a tiny grain of sand on an endless beach. And in a way, it's kind of beautiful because there's just infinity. And so, like, when one grain of sand gets really worked up over another grain of sand coming into its atmosphere, it's just kind of funny because it's just, there's all these other little pieces of grain of sands that have their own little grain of sand stories. That's not the best visualization or analogy I could give. It's just what came to mind. And this is all raw. So, I mean, it's not like I'm, you know, really good at articulating my thoughts. I'm trying to get better at them. But yeah, that's just how I see it. And, you know, some days you can get yourself caught up into thinking that someone else's opinion matters a lot more than it does. And it doesn't. It's just someone's opinion. They're entitled to it. They have a right to their own opinion because they exist. And if you disagree with them, so what? You know, just walk away. Like, you don't have to stick around and engage. Honestly, you're just going to, you know, make yourself more tired, exhausted, and maybe in a more frustrated mood if you do. If that's what you want to experience, you know, be my guest. But I don't. I just find it a waste of time. It's so much more useful. Just ignore what is, you know, not worth your time. And online arguments are usually fall into that realm. But yeah, I always like hearing people's difference of opinion. I do like hearing the counter argument. I love hearing the counter argument because it can help shape my own faults in my own logic. I'm just not a fan of people who insult you because they disagree with you. Because the insult is just basically breaks things down to ego. And it devalues their own argument in a way, because now you're not really talking about the opinion or the facts at hand. You are basically just throwing somebody under a bus because you didn't like their opinion. And so if you actually want to sway people over to your line of thinking, you would do better to not insult them when you do. And yeah, it's like basically once the conversation has degraded to insults, there's nothing left there. It's just, there's nothing. There's no more productive discussion. The discussion has basically come to a close. Unless the two people agree to apologize and make up and move on, which doesn't always happen. yeah, the productivity of the discussion is gone. So yeah, it's not something like I imagine will just suddenly change. Humans are going to be humans, right? But yeah, it is nice having discussions with people who do have counter arguments to points I brought up, and I really enjoy engaging with people like that because it helps you shape your own thinking, and you can learn something, which is very cool. I like that. Anyway, this video has gone on for long enough, and I didn't know where it was going to start, and I didn't know where it's going to end up, and here we are. If you've listened, thank you. Appreciate it. And I'll catch you in the next one. Have a good day. Zen out.